Good evening. Welcome to PoliticIt podcast. Tonight we have Shaun Myers with us. And Shaun is a candidate for the at-large seat, right? City Council.
At-large seat for Ogden City Council. It's a fun thing for me to be able to throw my hat in the ring. The season is the right time for me. I've got some time and expertise, and I just I felt like I have something to give to our community. So that's why I decided to do it.
Yeah, that's really cool. So what, you've been involved in a lot of different things, right? I mean, you're the current chair of the Chamber of Commerce.
Yeah, for the Ogden Weber Chamber of Commerce, I serve as the chair, and being involved in the chamber's just been a highlight for me of public service and community service. The chamber does a great job in promoting business in Ogden City and economic development, so it's really been a great thing for me to be involved with the chamber.
Yeah. So what got into you? What's this now going into the city council? That's quite a job,
I am very impressed with the Ogden City Council, John. What I like about it is the legislative side of how it interacts with the mayor and the form of government in Ogden City. I think the city council has an important role where they protect the rights of all citizens for Ogden City, and I like the fact that the city council has a stamp of approval for anything that the mayor is doing.
Yeah, and so you are that at-large seat means that you're not in any particular district, right? Everyone in the city
correct.
will vote for you.
Yeah, and that's actually a benefit for me because everything that I do in my life is focused throughout the entire city for Ogden City, and I'm not just my specific district. I feel like I have good representation for everyone across the borders, both from the west side of town, the east side of town, the north side of town, and the south side of town. So
that's cool. So what are the things that you see you being able to do uniquely?
Well, first thing I think that I do well is provide positive leadership and great experience. I bring a lot to the table as far as past service that I've rendered in the community. I'm a businessman. I'm a homegrown person. I have a lot of connections with people in the community. I think those are all important things that I bring to the table.
Yeah, a lot of different groups too that you've been associated with. Right?
Indeed, yeah. I've had the privilege of serving in many community organizations, foundations. At Weber State University, I've served there for many years as a president of the Wildcat Club and the Alumni Association. I served on the Board of Trustees at Weber State. Currently, I'm serving on the advisory committee for the School of Behavioral and Social Science at Weber State.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, I didn't know a lot of these things. I mean, we grew up in the same neighborhood. It's kind of interesting to see you do this.
You went away to Mississippi for a few years.
Yeah.
I didn't see you until you came back again. And one of the things I'd admired about you, John, which I think is important to our community, is that you've always been a good dad. And even in those days when you were a single dad, I think you were a standout in just making a priority of your family. And that's a good value. That's a good example that you bring to our community.
Well, and you've done the same thing.
We strive.
Let's talk. Let's talk. So, tell me a little bit about your family. Well, I know, but
sure,
it'd be interesting for people to know kind of your family. And
I married a woman by the name of Christina Lahn, and she is from Sweden. Sweden's an amazing place, and she comes from a family that is noble and just good people. And I did not realize that I hit the jackpot. I knew that she was the jackpot, but I didn't know that the rest of the family was like the lottery for me. So she's an amazing person. She's been an outstanding mother. She taught at Weber State for many years, and she's just been a great partner for me. And gosh, I really love her a lot.
Yeah.
We have 6 children, and my oldest daughter lives in Portland, and she teaches aerobic classes and things like that. She's a sports instructor. Her husband's a dentist and has a couple clinics there in Portland. Got another daughter who's a nurse at McKay Hospital and at Davis North Hospital, Davis IHC, I think they call it. And then a son who lives in Jackson, Wyoming, another son that lives in Idaho, and 2 young sons, Daniel and Thomas, who kind of bring up the rear. We had one little daughter, as you know, who her name is Annika, who was called home too early at age 9 as a result of cancer.
Yeah, that had to be a tough period of time for you and your family.
The interesting thing I learned about that period of time in my life is that I rolled well with the punches and the challenges of the time, but I didn't realize some of the challenges that our children went through. And if I were to go through that whole experience again, the first thing I would do would be to pay more attention to each individual child, because they grieve too, and we don't always realize it.
Yeah. Well, and you've been in the business of helping people with grief and
Caring for the dead has been my mission in life.
yeah.
And the living.
Yeah.
More the living than
Well, you know, that's a business that really does sensitize you to people's feelings. And
I think that's one of the things that makes me a good candidate for this position, is that I've had 42 years of meeting with individuals and families, of listening to them, and then helping them creatively plan different types of celebrations of life and helping them honor their loved one. But the most important thing I think I do is listen to the families and just become a confidant to them and to help them as they plan and prepare. That's one of the strengths I think I bring to this candidacy, is that I like to listen to people. I form relationships with them on a deep personal level, and I feel like I'm a compassionate person, and I put the needs of others first.
yeah. Well, and this is it's an interesting position, because Ogden's an interesting place in terms of the demographics that we have, right?
Absolutely.
Across the city.
And that's another thing that I really am proud about, is that I have been in hundreds of homes throughout Ogden City, from the most simple, humble homes to the working class homes to some of the more beautiful homes in our community as well. But I'm accepted and have friends in every social economic station in Ogden.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's really important in understanding where people are coming from, right?
I think it really is. Currently, Christina and I, because of our background, we both speak Spanish, my wife and I, and we just have a great love for the Hispanic community and every other community in Ogden as well. But we've had great opportunities to serve in many different venues.
That's really what this is about, is a service to the community. We're going to take a break, and then we'll come right back.
Awesome.
Hey, gang. For all things Utah politics, make sure you tune in to PoliticIt, the greatest podcast around, with your host, Senator John Johnson. We'll see you soon. Ciao, baby.
Well, welcome back. We're talking to Shaun Myers. And, you know, we didn't talk about your business, but you've got a multi-generational business that you've been involved in.
I've been very fortunate, John, to work in a family business for many years. I had the privilege of working with my father, Richard Myers, for 30 years, which was just a great thing for me. He's an honorable, noble, good man. And indeed, our family runs Myers Mortuary. And we've been located here in Ogden, Utah since 1941. Our flagship location is here in Ogden. We have other locations in Roy and Brigham City and Layton.
Oh, it's quite a business. And so what drew you into the chamber?
The Chamber of Commerce, it just provides opportunities to network into our community, especially to our business community, and it gives opportunities to serve. And so one of the first opportunities I have was to be with leadership Northern Utah through the Chamber of Commerce. I became the chair, and then eventually became very involved with the leadership of the Legislative Affairs Committee, and then currently the chair of the chamber. You go through that cycle where you begin as the
so
treasurer.
is that a job that lasts just for a couple of years?
Until March of 2024, and then that'll be the past chair.
Right. Well, and that's a good time to transition. Now, this seat on the city council that you're running for, it's the at-large seat, and it's the seat currently occupied by Luis Lopez, right?
Yep, Luis Lopez, yes.
So is Luis running again, or are you going to?
Luis has got another business venture that he's involved with. He's also involved a lot with Weber State. His professional career, I think, is at Weber State. And he wants to focus on his business. And I've not talked with Luis about this position at all, but when I found out that he was not running, I started to ask some of my associates and friends about this particular seat, and they encouraged me to run.
Yeah, that's cool.
It's an open seat, and that also inspired me to run. I wouldn't want to run against Luis Lopez just because I respect him, and I think he represents the Hispanic community, which is an important part of the community that is underrepresented in our.
And your tie to the Hispanic community is really pretty tight.
I have close connections with the Hispanic community here in Ogden.
Yeah, Christina being a professor of Spanish at Weber State, your church service in Mexico, and your tie in there.
Yeah, and currently we're serving as a service mission in inner city Ogden, and so we see people in all walks of life from the Hispanic community.
Yeah, and that's an important thing, I think, for somebody coming into that seat to recognize.
One of the things I think I bring to this candidacy is that I feel like I represent every aspect of our community. Every socioeconomic group I'm very familiar with, every racial group. I have close connections and close ties with many. And so I think this type of representing in the city council is important because you have connections without the community. And I just hope that people can call and let me know what their concerns are. And I like to listen. So I think I can help people out.
Yeah. Well, and the other thing, what are your major, what are the major political objectives that you have?
So I think the first thing that I really feel strongly about is economic development in Ogden. And I think economic development is incredibly important because it provides opportunities for our residents to be able to improve their employment within the community. I think economic development is important for Ogden City because it helps to develop a tax base among businesses, and our city becomes less dependent on you and me for us to pay taxes. It has businesses that help support
Yeah,
it.
if you don't have the business community, then it's up to the property owners in the city to pay the bills. And
Absolutely. And so I think we need to broaden that as well. If economic development is working well in Ogden City, then I think our community becomes a more vibrant place. And I think that's very important, that businesses have a place to go and a place to expand. I think we need to look at how we expand opportunities for business to come to Ogden. Recently, through the Chamber of Commerce, I was in Davis County and in Weber County, and we're very familiar with several people that were looking for places to rent, that they could bring their technology-based businesses to work with Hill Air Force Base. And they were, with all the expansion and replacement of the Minuteman program, they are looking for places to expand, and there were not places that met what their needs were, and so they located their business further away than where they wanted to be. They wanted to be close by Northrop Grumman and Ogden City, and so I think that's important, that we provide business an opportunity to rent and a place so they can find a place and develop and sink their roots here. I think that's good for our community to have that
well,
kind of business
it's
there.
good that you understand how that all works. And I think a lot of people in the community don't realize how big a deal this Northrop Grumman venture is, because I mean, this is a long-term project.
It's huge. And again, through the Chamber of Commerce, we were at Northrop Grumman campus just not too long ago, and I saw the 5-building complex that they have there. And then I also have been very keenly aware of the many tentacles of relationships that other businesses have with Northrop Grumman. And we really have a great thing going there. And I think Ogden City needs to capitalize on that by providing a place for them. We can't compete with Silicon Slopes, but I think we can really develop a close relationship with developers and business owners that they have a place to sink their roots here in Ogden.
Yeah, and there's a big community here with the outdoor retailers and stuff. Really, some of the companies that support that effort.
Yeah, Ogden has that motto, still untamed, which I think is a great motto because of the outdoor recreation that's available here in Ogden. And we want to keep that flavor. I think it's important because it adds to the quality of life for Ogden City residents, which is very important.
Yeah, a lot of the stuff that Matthew Godfrey started here has really transformed the city and made a big difference.
We're seeing the fruits of Matthew Godfrey's labor. Mayor Caldwell's done some great things. Many years ago, Matthew Godfrey invited me to be on the Ogden Community Foundation, and our group went around and purchased homes in Ogden when a lot of people wouldn't purchase homes in Ogden. And we hired contractors that went out and remodeled the homes. We took homes that had 5 apartments within them that were originally designed to be beautiful, nice homes, and we shrunk them down to where that home became a single family dwelling place once again. And I think that made a huge difference to start to build Ogden into a residential community again. And it was very important for the vibrancy for residential Ogden. Ogden needs to have a good base for community for people of every economic status. And I think if we can bring people back into Ogden, and it's a very popular place to live because we have a lot of amenities in downtown Ogden. And as we bring these people back into town, we need to have housing that they want to live in. So we need to provide single family homes where people are happy to be here and live here. And I've had a wonderful experience of being involved with that for many years.
That's cool with that experience. So what, we're about out of time. So in conclusion, let's say, what would you like voters to know?
Well, I think for voters, if you like someone who has a mind towards economic development, who's interested in single-family homes, who is very reachable, who listens, who's available to interact, and I'm happy to share my cell phone number or anything else. I just want you to know that I represent the people, and of anything else, if you like those qualities, if you like that type of a platform, that's what I represent. And I would just ask for your vote because I think I can bring a lot to the table as far as leadership goes, and as far as representing our community. I think I'm a good candidate that stands out above the rest.
Yeah. Well, Shawn, it's really been good having you here, and I'd just like to say, I mean, I've known Shaun Myers for a long time, and I really think that you would be outstanding in this position, and I appreciate that you're going to do this.
Thanks, John.
Yeah, we'll see you guys next week.
Appreciate your endorsement. It's nice to be here with you.